In the dim glow of a flickering neon sign at a rundown gas station on the outskirts of a sleepy Midwestern town, Sarah clutched her steering wheel, her knuckles white against the cracked vinyl. It was well past midnight, and her old minivan had sputtered to a near halt on fumes, forcing her to pull over at this forsaken pit stop. As a single mother of 2 young boys, she knew better than to venture out alone at this hour, but the graveyard shift at the diner had run late, and the bills wouldn't pay themselves. Her heart pounded as she glanced in the rearview mirror at her sleeping sons, Tommy and Jake, bundled in blankets in the back seat. "Just fill up and get home," she whispered to herself, stepping out into the chill night air. But as she fumbled with the gas pump, a group of rough-looking men emerged from the shadows, their laughter echoing like thunder, eyes gleaming with malice under the station's harsh lights. The thugs, 4 of them, clad in faded jackets and reeking of cheap beer, circled her like wolves sensing weakness. One, the tallest with a scar snaking down his cheek, leaned against her van, smirking. "Well, look what we got here. Pretty little thing all alone. Need some help with that pump, sweetheart?" Sarah's stomach twisted. She ignored him, focusing on the nozzle, but her hands trembled. Another one snatched her purse from the front seat through the open door, rifling through it with a grin. "Hey, boys, jackpot. Couple of 20s and some kids drawing. Ah, how cute." Laughter erupted, and Sarah's voice cracked as she demanded it back. "Please, that's all I have for groceries. Give it back." But they only closed in tighter, one shoving her shoulder lightly, testing her resolve. The harassment escalated quickly, catcalls turning to threats, their voices rising over the hum of distant traffic. Sarah's mind raced to her boys, praying they wouldn't wake to this nightmare. She felt utterly alone, a single thread fraying in the vast fabric of an indifferent world. Miles away, earlier that evening, a pack of bikers known as the Iron Guardians had roared out of their clubhouse in the heart of the city. Led by Big Mike, a burly veteran with a heart as vast as his tattooed arms, the group wasn't your typical outlaw crew. They were ex-military, mechanics, and family men who rode not for chaos, but for camaraderie and quiet acts of service. Tonight, they were on a routine run, delivering care packages to a local shelter, blankets, food, and toys donated from their annual charity drive. "Remember why we ride," Mike had boomed before they set off, his voice gravelly from years of wind and wisdom. "It's not about the chrome, it's about the chain that binds us all." The group nodded, engines revving in agreement. Little did they know, their path would intersect with destiny at a forgotten gas station, where the true test of their motto awaited. Back at the station, Sarah's fear turned to desperation. The thugs had her cornered now, one block kin. The pump while another toyed with her keys, dangling them just out of reach. "Come on, mama, dance for M," the scar-faced leader jeered, his breath hot and foul. Tears stung Sarah's eyes as she thought of her late husband, lost to a senseless accident 3 years prior, leaving her to navigate this cruel world solo. She had scraped by on sheer grit, working double shifts, patching clothes, and whispering bedtime stories of heroes to her sons. But in this moment, heroes seemed like fairy tales. A sob escaped her lips, and that's when the roar began, a deep, rumbling thunder that shook the ground like an approaching storm. Headlights pierced the darkness, and the thugs froze as a dozen motorcycles pulled into the lot, encircling them in a ring of chrome and leather. The bikers dismounted slowly, their boots crunching on gravel, faces shadowed under helmets. Sarah's heart sank further, this was it, the end of her fraying luck. More trouble, she thought, huddling protectively near her van. The thugs puffed up, trying to look tough. "This ain't your business, grease monkeys," the leader snarled, puffing his chest. But Big Mike stepped forward, removing his helmet to reveal a weathered face etched with lines of hard-earned empathy. His eyes scanned the scene, the frightened woman, the sleeping children visible through the window, the purse clutched in hostile hands. Without a word, he nodded to his crew, and they formed a silent wall, not aggressive, but unyielding. One biker, a young woman named Lena with a phoenix tattoo rising from her collar, knelt by Sarah's side. "You okay, Han. We're here now. Sarah blinked in confusion, her world tilting on its axis. These weren't aggressors, they were guardians. What followed was an unexpected turn that shattered the night's tension like glass under a boot. Instead of violence, the bikers spoke calmly, their voices a chorus of reason and resolve. Mike addressed the thugs directly, "Boys, I've seen your kind before. Lost souls barking at the moon, 'cause life's kicked you too hard. But tonight, you're picking on the wrong pack." He didn't raise a fist, instead, he pulled out his wallet, tossing a wad of bills onto the ground. "That's for whatever hole you're trying to fill. Now hand over her stuff and walk away, or we'll make sure the law knows your faces." The thugs hesitated, eyes darting between the money and the impenetrable circle of bikers. One muttered a curse, but the leader, sensing the shift, dropped the purse and keys, backing away with feigned nonchalance. "Whatever, man. Not worth it." They slunk off into the shadows, their bravado crumbling like dry leaves. Sarah watched in stunned silence as the bikers turned their attention to her. Lena helped her retrieve her belongings, while another biker, a quiet giant named Raoul, checked her van's tires. "Looks like you could use some air, ma'am. And maybe a tune-up. We got a shop downtown, bring it by any time, no charge." Big Mike knelt to her level, his moss frame somehow gentle. "Hey, those kids of yours. They're lucky to have a fighter like you. I lost my wife young too, raised my daughter alone. It ain't easy, but it makes you strong." Sarah's tears flowed freely now, not from fear, but from a profound realization, in a world that often felt cold and isolating, humanity's warmth could ignite from the unlikeliest sparks. These bikers, with their roaring machines and rugged exteriors, embodied the selflessness she had almost forgotten existed. As the emotional climax built, Mike noticed Tommy stirring in the back seat, rubbing his eyes. The boy peeked out, wide-eyed at the sea of leather vests adorned with patches of eagles and flags. "Are you superheroes?" he mumbled sleepily. The bikers chuckled, but Mike's eyes softened. "Nah, kid. Just folks who look out for each other." In that moment, the group unveiled their care packages from saddlebags, blankets for the cold nights, snacks for the boys, even a small toy motorcycle that made Jake's face light up when he woke. But the true act of compassion came when Mike pressed an envelope into Sarah's hand. "This is from all of us. Enough to cover rent for a couple months, and a card for our support group. You're not alone anymore." Sarah gasped, it was more generosity than she'd seen in years. The transformative impact hit her like a wave. She wasn't just saved from harassment, she was reminded that kindness could rebuild shattered spirits, one selfless act at a time. The bikers lingered a while longer, sharing stories under the gas station's lights. Sarah learned that the Iron Guardians had formed after Mike's own brush with despair, when a stranger's help pulled him from the brink. "We pay it forward," he said simply. "That's the power of humanity, it's in all of us, waiting to rev up." As engines roared to life again, Sarah waved goodbye, her heart swelling with hope. Driving home with her boys chattering excitedly about the cool biker uncles, she felt a shift deep within. The world hadn't changed, but her view of it had. Thugs might harass, but heroes, ordinary, selfless ones, would always surround them. In the days that followed, Sarah visited the bikers' shop, not just for the van, but for the community. She joined their rides, volunteering at shelters, her story inspiring others to acts of kindness. Tommy and Jake grew up with tales of that night, learning that true strength lies in compassion, not confrontation. And across the USA, where single mothers like Sarah faced daily battles, whispers of the Iron Guardian spread, a reminder that in the face of darkness, humanity's light shines brightest when we choose to encircle one another with selflessness. It's a chain that binds us, unbreakable and ever-expanding, leaving us all inspired to ride toward a more hopeful tomorrow.